beautiful. It's Joe again, and it's week 20, which means measurements. We all know, if you've been watching my last few, that I have been in a little plateau. You know, it's a pound or two shifting here and there. My most current weigh-in was 176.1, which was about a pound and change difference from the last one. I have been back to walking for a week now. My intention had been to yoga, but there was a COVID exposure in my area, and my girlfriend and I are like, you know what? Let's wait. Let's just give ourselves a minute to make sure we're all clear, just to be safe. I have been sewing so many masks, and school's let back in around here, so I've been selling a lot of child-size masks. Yeah. As far as the workouts go, first day back went really well. Next morning, woke up. Holy fudge, my dudes. I expected to be sore today. I knew my feet were going to feel like murder. My legs were probably going to feel crazy. The heart and the mind are willing. The body is not agreeing. And my legs barely bother me. My feet are only a little sore. My back and arms are killing me. WTF, dude? Why is my back here sore? Really? Really? Why? Holy moly. We're doing this. Where's my ibuprofen? My back felt like bloody murder. Do not ask me why my back felt like murder and my legs felt fine, but there it is. By the end of that second walk, everything from the waist down felt like murder. By the third day's walk, murder plus the front of the legs and the shins and the shin splint where you're walking downhill and working that area. The third and fourth day, the shin area. I took the Saturday off from walking, slept in, had a little rest, got back to walking Sunday, was feeling much more normal, not feeling like murder anymore. I've walked the last several mornings in a row now. Everything's been going good, although yesterday I got a little lightheaded and fatiguey and really didn't barely make my whole walk. I pretty much did. I cut one little track off. I should have cut off more because I was out of it by the time I finished. Maybe I didn't get enough electrolytes. Maybe I needed to up my sodium more. I have been making a change in my eating habits. We talked about the possibility of going a little carnivore, and at the very least trying to dial back the carbs and see if I can break the plateau. And instead of doing pure carnivore, I think I'm weaning myself over from the carbs. I haven't had spaghetti in like a week and a half. And anybody who knows me knows that's an accomplishment because I will have spaghetti like 4 times in a week. Yeah. But I have dialed back the carbs deeply. Haven't had any potatoes to speak of. I have had some canned soup which had like a little potato in it, but you know, not like a big mess of potatoes or anything. I have had some Ritz crackers with you know, it's just a nice salty crunch. I'm gonna have to come up with a carby light version of a cracker, I think. And there are some versions. But basically, instead of going pure carnivore, what I'm working on weaning myself down to is a protein-heavy paleo. So a lot more fresh foods, a lot more vegetables, nuts, still eggs, still plenty of meat. I would have thought beans would be paleo. They are not. So I'm not having any pasta. I'm not having any beans. I have had a couple of times where I tried to stop eating a little earlier and it just didn't quite work out right for me. But, you know, this is a process. Cold turkey doesn't work so well for me when it comes to carbs. And like yesterday, I ate all my calories kind of early and was trying to wrap it up for the day and just got wanting to eat something, and I wound up eating a can of chicken corn chowder soup with crackers. So, yeah. It didn't work completely, and it put me over the calories I was shooting for. I am shooting for 1,900 to 2,000 calories. And that's one of the things with carnivore. A lot of the people who do carnivore don't count calories at all. They just eat pounds and pounds of meat. One of the things I've been trying to figure is how many calories are they getting? And mostly people just talk about this many pounds. They don't talk about how many calories that might be. So that's different. But I brought in like some more bacon. I brought in a steak one time, a chuck steak. I've never really cooked steak to speak of. It's not my thing. But I put it in the crock pot, and apparently chuck is known to be a little bit of a tougher steak, and I tenderized it as best I could quickly, and it wasn't too terrible, but I think I overcooked it in the crock pot, so that's a work in progress on how to cook that. But some breakfast sausage is another thing I really don't usually bring in. That I've been doing lots of eggs with the bacon and the breakfast sausage. Still my bone broth in the morning. Nuts, sunflower seeds, walnuts, cashews. Dried cranberries is a nice sweet snack. One of the things is dialing back any flavory drinks except for like tea. And if you're doing true straight carnivore, you're doing water and nothing else. They want you to wean yourself off coffee if you can. I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. I have been making a unsweet iced tea, and that's working out okay for a different flavor on the tongue and another thing that doesn't break the fast. So I'm giving that a try. Still in a plateau, but let's see what the inches say. Okay, it is week 20, and it is time to do this again. Are you ready? I don't know if I've lost anything. I have not checked. I suspect I haven't, but things have redistributed a little bit. But the pounds have been in a plateau for like 7 weeks now. What we at? Let's see. Let's do upper arms next. These bad boys. Okay, check this out. Grandma flaps, bat wings, where my arms need to be. Look at this. I need all of this to go away. And look at that arm. Blop. Just saying. I can see why people have surgery. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to do that. I ain't even got that kind of money. But I can see why people do it. Okay, let's go compare that to the last few numbers. As far as my measurements go, I'm semi-plateaued there too, but there were some little fractions here and there that I think are accurate numbers. Once again, anytime you're doing your own measurements by yourself, it's hard to get 100% accurate, especially once we talked about with my flappy arms. This laxity, if you're not careful, you can pinch up and not get quite an accurate number. I'm trying to get as accurate as possible, give or take a quarter inch, I figure. That being said, my waist is the same. My hips, I lost about a quarter inch, I think. My bust, I really didn't think I was going to be losing any more around the bust because I lost a lot of back fat, but my boobs haven't changed at all still. But apparently I dropped another inch there. So I'm at 35 inches on the waist, 47 inches on the hips, 41 inches at the bust, which was 42 last time. Under bust was at 36 this time, and I don't know if I was just having a hard time reading the tape measure or if I wrote it down wrong, because first I wrote 38 and I was like, I did not gain 2.5 inches. I know I didn't gain like that. So I remeasured and came up with 36, which is a gain of a half an inch. And I am not sure what's happening there. How do I lose an inch off my bust and gain a half inch off my under bust? I don't know. We're going to see what's happening there. We'll see. We'll watch it. On the upper arms, we're looking at 15 and a half and 16 respectively, which is pretty well exactly the same. Forearms, 10 inches, exactly the same. Calves, 16 and a half inches, exactly the same. Thighs, 26 and 26, which means on one side I lost another 1/4 inch, I think. I did my best to get in the same spot when I'm measuring and try to get at the thickest area of that body part. It's an art, not a science when it comes to measurements. If you ain't got a computer program and like getting scanned by a machine, I think it's an art. And I'm doing the best I can to get as accurate of a number as I can. So I would say I lost another 1.5 inches worth of inches, but supposedly gained a half an inch in another spot. That was weird. I don't know. I'd say another pound, almost 1.5 pounds lost in this last month, which isn't anything, but I'm just doing my best to break that plateau. I really think the Paleo Carnivore thing is going to be the step in the right direction for me. I know some people do, there's a couple of things that's good on one and not on the other that I'm having to decide about, like butter. They really don't want you to have butter on paleo, but it's totally mostly okay within reason on carnivore. Although on both of them, they want you to be careful about dairy in general. One of the things is that the meat is very filling, but I'm used to having a bulkier filled feeling, if that makes sense. You know how it is. If you eat a mess of pasta, you're full. And I'm having to convince myself that I'm not hungry when I'm full, but not bloated full. It's reevaluating your relationship with food. That's what this is. I'm reevaluating my relationship with food. And I have a very small grocery store where I live. So there are a limited, some of the stuff that's available. Pair that with a limited amount of some of the stuff that I particularly know how to cook. It's definitely going to be a process. One of the things I think I'm going to have to do is get more of the grain carby things out of the house. I think I'm going to have to either pack them up, give them away, or just put them away in like the storage room until I'm sure I'm not going to eat them anymore. I maybe need to pre-measure out some like noodles or something so that it's extremely small portions that I can satisfy my want and my taste buds with without filling up monstrously, I should say, monstrously. I think I'm going to have to get these things out of the pantry where I can't see them. I actually had a lot of calories yesterday from some Honey Nut Cheerios because the box was almost empty and I needed that to go away. So I just on Cheerios. And now Cheerios can be outside of it just couldn't sit there like that. It just kept calling me just a little bit. Cheerio, honey nut sweet Cheerio. And I'm not going to give away a partial box of Cheerios, and I don't want to store an open container. That is definitely not the kind of thing you want to put in a storage room or at all. So I did eat something, and it was a conscious choice. I decided, let me just eat these, finish it up. I still went heavy protein in the morning. I had a bunch of Cheerios for lunch. I had a few bits of cheese, preferably hard cheese, not soft cheese. So personally, I like Colby Jack. And then I just didn't feel done. And I wound up with a nod to the paleo side, just cooking up a whole bag of frozen veggies and in some bacon grease with a little seasoned salt, a little pepper, and then I put a block of the Colby Jack in there just to cheese it up a hair. And I say a block, I mean a portion, not a block. And that was pretty darn satisfying. And do that up with like some chicken or some little beefy bits of some sort, and that would be a pretty satisfying meal. But that I was done eating kind of early, so then early evening, and I didn't want to be eating again, and it got all up in my head, and that's when the chowder happened. So that is where we're at. A paleo carnivore blend, a tiny number of inches lost, no real weight to speak of lost, but trying to eat better, trying to cut carbs, and getting our exercise again. Now you have a beautiful day. I wish you luck on your journey. And if you have any questions, please feel free to subscribe, comment, notification bell, all the things. You have a great day.